It's the Dublin Special Master.
Live and direct.
Breakfast with CubCamTV.
Trickstar Radio.
What's happening, people? We're back inside the building once again. Welcome back to Breakfast with CubCamTV here on the big bad Trickstar Radio. As always, it's an absolute pleasure to be back inside the building for the interview hour. We've got a wicked guest on the way today. A conversation I've actually been looking forward to having for a hot minute, and we're going to be getting into a very interesting album discussion as well. Yakul, join us on the line. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
It's great to get you on, man. It's been it feels like it's been a long time since we've had you on Trickstar.
Yeah, bro, it has been a while. I'd say the last time was actually before we did the last proper Brian headline show, which was like the end of 2019.
Wow. So it's a long time. A long time. Wow. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's really, really good to get you on. Obviously, a lot has happened since then, so there's going to be a lot for us to dive into. Do you want to sort of, just as a bit of background, sort of run me through the sort of period post-lockdown? Because obviously clubs have been open again, venues have been open again, and obviously you guys have been really busy at your end. So how's things been?
Bro, you know what? It's been amazing just being able to get back out and play shows. Like over lockdown, we almost forgot how much we enjoyed doing it, because we wrote the album over lockdown. We were like had this real introspective time, like most people did, just not being able to get out and do stuff like that. And the first show we had back was at Jazz Cafe, and it was rescheduled 3 times. We originally booked it for the end of November last year, and then literally announced it end of October, cancelled it a week later when that lockdown was in force, and then we were meant to do it in February, cancelled again, and we finally got it in it was the start of June. And yeah, just doing that show, man, it was like such an amazing introduction back into gigging. And it, like, as we were on stage, we were like, wow, like it feels so good to just like be playing in front of people again, like after so long. And yeah, we've had like a few since then, which it's just been really nice, man. And yeah, just kind of like getting back into writing a bit more like for future stuff. But yeah, it's been a really nice time, just being able to kind of like get out and do stuff and not have to worry about like everything that we were like earlier in the year and last year.
Of course, man, of course. I mean, a question I'm asking a lot of people with going back into that live environment now, what have you noticed that's changed? Because obviously a year and a half has gone past, people are different, people have grown, some people haven't been to gigs before and now going to gigs. Was there anything you noticed after doing those first few shows that you're a bit like, I don't remember that being a thing?
You know what, I reckon that like all the ones that we've done so far, everyone was just so ready for gigs. Like I think there's obviously going to be some people that like have a little bit of a reservation, which totally fair enough, but yeah, all the people that have come have just been like so up for it. Especially that first show, I asked at the show like how many people is this their first gig, and it was the majority of people's first gig, because that was like only in like June, so we'd only kind of like come out as like started. I mean, we hadn't even come out and stuff because it was all seated and properly yeah, like social distance and everything. But yeah, everyone was just like so ready to see live music, and it was great because it just meant we started playing and just everyone was just so like attentive and just like so ready to listen, which was, yeah, it was a great experience, man.
Awesome, man, awesome. It's great to hear that you're back as well, and obviously playing, performing, enjoying it, which really bodes well for the future, especially with a very exciting creation that has landed moderately recently by the looks of things. A brand new album, bro. Talk to me about this as a project. Talk to me about everything that's been going on. How long's it been in the works, firstly?
Yeah, so we literally started it first lockdown. We kind of like April to June last year was like kind of like the gestation period when we were writing. And it was a weird one, man, because like the way that we've always written up until that point was we'd kind of get something down, then we'd like gig it a bit, kind of like see how it was feeling live, maybe change some bits, and like because we're a very live orientated band, everything that we'd written and released was kind of tested out there, almost like see what works and everything. But obviously this whole album was written in lockdown, so the way that we approached it was just like a bit different, and we kind of had it all done and obviously hadn't gigged it, so it's been interesting playing it live and seeing it like come together like that, because yeah, we hadn't had that before. So it was totally finished, mixed and mastered before we played any of it live.
Wow.
Yeah, which is just for a band that are like very live orientated, it was like a really unusual way of doing it. And I think to some degree we have gone like a slightly, or at least some of it has gone a slightly different direction, just because we haven't been thinking of the live aspect of it as much as we normally would. But it was a really great experience. So we kind of like, when we were able to, it would have been like last July, we kind of started getting back in the room and kind of sessioning. And before then we were just kind of sending stuff back and forth, and like, so I was able to come to the studio still, which was like, so yeah, just over lockdown, being able to come in here was like the best thing still. I like really felt for people that didn't have another space that they could go to. And yeah, so we were kind of just going back and forth of ideas, then managed to get in the room, and then like really quickly recorded it, because we weren't sure how long that kind of period between lockdowns was going to last. We were like, we've got to get in there and kind of like just track,
of course,
like at least like get all the tracking done, so then like we can kind of move on to the next stage. So I wouldn't say that we rushed it, but at the same time we definitely didn't like.
Well, it's more working to a deadline, you know. You've got to, like, you're in a situation where it's do or die to an extent. You've got to make sure you're getting this stuff done by a certain time period. Otherwise, you are going to end up with it half finished, like not being able to get it done. Did you actually find that a bit more inspiring to kind of working against the clock to an extent?
Man, you know what? It actually was like, I swear it can go one of two ways. When you've got like a really imposed deadline, I swear it can either make you just kind of like lose it and you can't get anything down, or it can just make you just churn stuff out. And it kind of all came together really fast. Which, yeah, I'm glad that it was that one, not the other.
Fully, man. I mean, again, as you've mentioned there, a lot of the stuff that you were actually putting together was almost fully recorded, recorded, mixed, mastered. Basically, the studio side of it had been done. The inceptions of the tunes had been done before you went to play them live. Were there any tunes where there were kind of points you went, oh, that might be a bit more difficult to do live than we envisaged in a studio setting? Are there any that sort of stood out?
Yeah, you know what does it feel like? I
was going to ask, was that one of them?
Yeah, man. Well, to be honest, like, we originally hadn't thought of that as a single, which is funny because with the first EP we released, Blossoming, which was like the most successful single off that, we were not planning on having that as a single. And we've kind of learned from those things to somewhat like trust, like the songs that kind of in their essence sound the most Yakul, the kind of like weirder ones that we kind of just like do whatever we want. And what does it feel like was definitely that. So the first the Jazz Cafe gig, we'd only just decided it was going to be a single, so we didn't play that one then. And then see, like, for me and Leo, who plays guitar, it's a real easy song, but drums and bass, it's like a nightmare. Like the first half of the song is just like the craziest polyrhythm beat, and then the second half is just like this insane bass solo. So we have never played that one live, but yeah, wow, we've got it ready for this tour. And you know what? It actually came together like way faster than we thought it would. There was a bit of reservation to start off with. It was like, from especially from Tom and Sam, because it was like such a hard one. But the moment we actually got in a room and did it, it was like, yo, this is actually dope, and it's probably like one of my favorite moments of the set now. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to playing that one.
Amazing, man. Yeah, I mean, as I was saying, it's such a complex tune, and we are going to get into it right about now, so people are going to be able to actually listen in and see the kind of magic before it kind of gets played live, and kind of see the kind of craziness and creativity people have to go through to actually play this tune live. It does go by the name "What Does It Feel Like," and it is off the brand new album. We're going to get into this one and then get back into a bit of conversation about the reaction to the project so far, and then of course a very interesting show which is taking place tonight. So keep it locked and don't go anywhere, people. We're live on the Big Bad Trickstar Radio. This is Breakfast with Kovu. It's the interview hour, and we're live on the line with Yakul. What's happening, people? We're back inside the building. Welcome back to Breakfast with Kovu here on the Big Bad Trickstar Radio. This is the interview hour, and we're back inside the building with Yakul. After listening through a tune like that, which is so explosive, so expansive, there's so many thousands of things going on, it does kind of lead me on to the question of the album as a whole, which is obviously an explosive thing where there's loads of things going on. It ties in quite nicely. How has the response been to this album? Because I feel after listening to it and listening through your previous works, this is almost like the most Yakul have ever been.
Yeah, absolutely, man. No, I'm glad that you think that too. You know what? I mean, obviously the like reaction you have from people that like it is like the best thing, but just for us to finally have it out is like, it's almost worth it just for that, because it's been like just so much build up. And I mean, a debut album feels like more than the gestation of that album. It feels like a culmination of like your whole career up to that point. It's such like a seminal moment, and none of us have ever like had that before with other projects. This is like the first album that any of us have done. So yeah, just for that, having it out, it was just like such a nice moment, like all of this build up, and then finally it's like we could just let it out into the world. That's kind of it. But yeah, we've had like it's been really nice to get all the messages and comments we've had from like people on social media, and like all of the people who are our fans. Yeah, it's just really nice to create something, and like, because you obviously want to have them in mind, but like we're also like kind of doing it for ourselves as well. It's like a joint thing, and to get a reaction that's really positive from people, and get messages from people saying like how much it's helped them in certain ways, that it's like inspired them. It's the best thing, man. Like ultimately, that's like why we want to do all this, like to kind of just like motivate and inspire like other people, whether it's like to do like to follow something musically or just in like other aspects of their life. It's just a really dope thing to feel like something that you created has actually like benefited someone's life in a positive way. It's
100%, man. I feel that entirely. And obviously it's quite a long project in regards to the amount of tracks on there, the length of tracks. It feels like this is definitely it definitely feels like one you need to sit down and taking in its entirety. As obviously on the creator side of things, would you kind of recommend people sit down and listen in a long play format, or would you say kind of have a skim through, pick your favorite tracks and then listen to those? Like what's, because I speak to a load of different people who have different opinions on this from a sort of creative standpoint. Where would you, as the creators of the project, want people to listen to it from?
That's a good question, man. I really like that. So yeah, I'd always say with an album, like the way that I listen to albums is start to finish as much as possible. Just because like I feel like most people, when they put an album together, it's in that order for a reason, and it's like that's the way it's supposed to be listened to. So with this album, I definitely had like quite a clear idea in my head pretty early on of like the order. It like I tried to actually like stop myself from doing it, just so we didn't like settle on the songs too early, but I like subconsciously just already kind of had created the track list in my head. So I think you'll get a better understanding of like what it's conveying by listening to it the whole way through. But at the same time, as any art, I don't feel like even as the creator you should be like in like putting your opinion on what it should be to other people onto them. Like people should listen to it however they feel like they want to, and like yeah, like if there's certain ones that like resonate with them more, then like obviously like yeah, focus on those ones. Yeah, like literally however you want to listen to it, as long as you're listening to it. That's
well, this does lead me nicely onto the next question for you. What are the standouts? Because everyone has their own favorites on the album. Obviously, there's the singles that are the ones that are sort of picked as the ones that they tend to be the ones that are picked as the singles that people will react most to, or the ones that will get the most sort of attention towards the album. But every project I find artists put together, there's always a couple of sneaky ones that are like, you know what, I really like that one. I really like and it's never the singles. Are there any on there that stand out to you as like tunes you would go, this is the one that I would pick to listen to?
Yeah, man, I would say I'll do like for my three favorite ones, I think. So Away From It All, which is the sixth song on the album. It's kind of the way when we started writing that one, I kind of had it in the back of my head that I wanted to just like do kind of like the blossoming of this, like from the first EP, kind of like this album's version of that. And I mean, it went in a totally different direction, but that was like the jumping off place. I was like, that'd be cool to do another song kind of like that. And then it ended up just going in like loads of other directions. And it actually, like the end of that song has this like, it's probably my favorite bit on the whole album. It's this like really, really heavy. It's basically just got like a pop punk rock beat. It's just like, we've never done any beat like that in a song, but like, it just felt like right for that bit. And it's, yeah, that song definitely like, on a lot of levels for me, like means a lot. And Out of Reach as well, that one, like as we were writing that one, like I was like, yeah, I really like what that one, and like lyrically I really like that one. And just yeah, there's quite like the narrative of it, and the kind of like peaks and troughs of it, like yeah, those two. And then in terms, and then April, which we did actually have as a single, that was one that we've collectively kind of like thought of as one of like the best songs in the album. It kind of has like this switch halfway through where it goes all like Latin, and it almost, in some ways, it feels like that's kind of like opens up the album to like some of the things that we're then going to do later, and just the fact that we can start a song in one place and then like you don't know where it's going to end. It could go like to this totally different place.
Well, that's the most Yakul thing about everything, isn't it? Like the fact you genuinely don't know where things are going to go. And it's such an interesting thing to have from a kind of band's perspective, where you are constantly keeping people guessing. People know they're going to enjoy it, but they don't know in what way they're going to enjoy it, you know? And I think it's such an interesting thing, and it's a solid theme that I felt kind of listening through the album earlier. The theme that I genuinely got was, this could go anywhere at any moment, but I'm here for the ride, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. Honestly, really, really enjoyed listening through the full project. And obviously, people are going to have the opportunity to actually take this in live, because there's a very special event taking place tonight in Brighton. How long has it been since you last played Green Door Store?
It's been a while, man. It's been a while. I will say 2018 would have been the last time.
Wow.
It's been a while. I'm looking forward to it, man. Like playing back at that venue. Like it's just one of those venues that kind of like, yeah, everyone like plays at some point, and like we've done it like a few times in the past. Like, yeah, it's gonna be good, man. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Definitely, man. I definitely feel when you can't, especially within Brighton, to an extent, you have this kind of thing of kind of places and venues that if you're working in certain sounds, you will frequent them at some point. I feel in dance music, it tends to be the Volks. That tends to be where people will play at least some point in their career. They will appear, they will play at Volks. And the other one that tends to be more for sort of band orientated, sort of live composition, it does tend to be at some point you will play a Green Door Store. They seem to be two kind of staples in sort of Brighton's, I suppose, sort of venue hierarchy to an extent. These are places you have to play at some point. So in regards to sort of tickets and things, I'm assuming there's still a few available. There's still a couple of places, I presume.
Yeah, man. Yeah. There'll be some like limited ones on the door. But yeah, like, very much looking forward to seeing people and playing a bunch of stuff off the record. Like, yeah, it's just fun playing like songs that are really fresh to you still. Like, I'm assuming like most artists and bands have the same thing. Like, you've obviously have the ones that people know better that you've had for a while, but like, yeah, when you get to play like the fresh stuff that you kind of like that's only just been sitting there for a little bit, it's like, yeah. It's almost like starting again, because you have to rehearse everything. You have to get this whole new approach to it. If it's all sort of greatest hit stuff, it's always kind of struck me, if you get to a point in your career where you're just playing greatest hit shows, it must get a little bit boring if you're just playing the same songs over and over. But obviously this does give you a bit of refreshment. Now, off the back of this, we are going to get into a few tunes off the album to kind of sign off this conversation, which I'm really excited to do. One tune I really want to talk about, because it features one of my favourite rappers in the UK currently. Obviously, Cross My Line featuring Lingo. This tune, I feel this is quite a special one. How did the collaboration come together? Because I know Shay's quite out there in what he does. He's quite experimental and he likes to try different things. How did this link up first happen? Man, we just, really, really rate like his style and the like diversity of the stuff that he does. So yeah, we felt like when we initially had this song that it really, really needed that kind of touch to it. So yeah, that was like how it initially came about, and he really liked the song, and we kind of got on a Zoom and kind of chatted through it a bit. And actually, so that section originally had it had like real drums, and it kind of felt a bit more like the verse, I guess. And then we chatted through it and felt like a little bit of a reproduction was going to be something that would really, really like tie in more with like what he was going to bring to it. So yeah, we had like a little bit of a shift with it, which was really dope, like having his input on that, because it took it in like this direction that like we didn't originally have in mind, which is the best thing about collaboration. It's just like getting somebody else's input and having it go into like a space that you didn't have in mind.
Of course, man, of course. Yeah. It's like finding a door that you didn't know was there, and then having someone open it for you. Like, it's such a cool thing. And so kind of seeing that creative process is always really exciting. Well, it does look like we've just about run out of time, but I've got to say, it's been great to get you online. It's been great to talk through the album as well. And do remember, people, you can check out Yakul down at Green Door Store tonight. It's going to be a wicked show. Make sure you get there. I'm assuming, as you said, tickets are going to be limited edition on the door as well.
Yeah, that's the one. See you down there.
Fantastic stuff. Well, we're going to keep it moving and jump into a few more tracks off the album. This one, Cross My Line, featuring Lingo. We've been live on the line with Yakul. Following this, we're going to get into the Dub Shack. This has been the interview hour. Keep it locked and don't go anywhere, dude. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll chat soon, okay?
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Each and every time.
This is Breakfast with KXVU, bringing you their morning flavours on Trickstar Radio.
Trickstar Radio.